Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So a lot of people were asking in one of my previous videos, how do I write a solid cover letter and resume? Because often your cover letter and resume is what people are looking at before they decide, hey, you know what, let's give this lady or let's give this person an interview. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about is your cover letter and your resume. So your cover letter and resume should each be 1 page in length. When it comes to a header, your header really only needs very little information. A lot of people like to clutter their header with so many different things. All you really need is your name, which I like to personally bold and put in capital letters and a slightly bigger font size, and my email and my phone number, which is the best places to reach me. A lot of people like to put their address in, maybe some other stuff. Honestly, I limit it to just the phone number and the email, but if you did want, you could include a link to your LinkedIn profile so that it's not super cluttered. That way they can just click the link and really see your entire resume, and it looks really nice because of the format that LinkedIn likes to do. But personally, I just put very simple, my phone number and my email. So now when it comes to fonts, okay, the best font to use is really the most simple font. I don't think it's a good idea to use a bunch of different colors as well. Most people like very simple Times New Roman, Arial, Calibri, size 11 font if you really want to be sneaky, or size 12 font is really the best way to go. I don't like to put a lot of fancy fonts because often it's hard to read, and I know a lot of people want their resumes to stand out, but I really think it's best to stick to simple black font. And if you really want to, make your title stand out or whatever, you can, use a pop of color, or I would alternatively make it capitalized or center it, or just don't do anything super crazy because you want to look professional. When you're applying to a specific job, you need to do research. That is the most important thing, because you want to make sure that your resume and cover letter really relate to the job that you're applying to. A lot of the times a job position will receive tons and tons of resumes and cover letters, and they just really do a search to find keywords in your cover letters and resumes that relate to the job. So when it comes to research, what exactly should I research? What types of things should I be including in my cover letter and resume that relate to the job? You want to first start at reading the job description. The job description is going to give you a lot of information in terms of the skills and experiences that they're looking for, and you want to highlight that in your resume and your cover letter. The next thing is to definitely look at the hospital or the clinic or wherever you're applying to. You want to look at their specific mission, their values, their goals. What are they known for? Are they known for being innovative? Are they known for their technology use? And briefly introduce that in your cover letter so it shows that you made an effort to actually research the job that you're applying for, research the hospital that you're applying to, and make that effort. It really shows a genuine interest in the position. It's very important to have multiple cover letters and resumes that relate to the job that you're applying to. Now, nursing, again, is such a broad field, so you want to ensure that you have resumes for public health positions, resumes for med surg positions, resume and cover letter for postpartum position. Whatever you're applying to needs to relate, because they will search for keywords in your cover letter and resume, and if you don't have those keywords that they're looking for, they probably will just scrap your resume aside and look at another candidate. So looking at the cover letter, the first thing you want to make sure that you have is the date. You want to also have the hospital name and the address that you are applying to, or clinic or whatever it is. And then you also want to include dear the hiring manager if you know their name, and if you don't, make sure you just write to whom it may concern. Let's talk about the body of your cover letter. I always start my cover letter with a brief sentence as to the position that I'm applying to at the hospital so-and-so and where I found the posting. So for example, the way I would start it is, I am interested in the position of a registered nurse at Sunnyside Hospital that I came across on your hospital website. That way I'm showing exactly what position I want, where I found the posting, and at what hospital, or what, if there's multiple hospitals as well, you want to identify which hospital exactly that you're applying to if there are multiple sites. So that's how I like to start it off. Then I want to talk about why I'm interested in the hospital. This is where that research piece comes in. So I want to talk about, I'm really interested in the innovative technology in so-and-so hospital. I'm really interested in the cancer research, if that relates to the position that you're applying to. So this is where you want to show your interest in the hospital or the clinic and the position. Then you want to talk about how you can bring your skills to the table. How can your experience help in this particular position? Whether it's your consolidation on a oncology unit, that really shows that you had experience on an oncology unit, and so you're going to use your skills and experiences from that unit to this position. So that is the first paragraph of your cover letter. The second paragraph of the cover letter really is talking about now your specific skills and specific experience and how it relates to the job. The specific skills you should be talking about is a lot of not so much the hands-on skills, but more so things like communication, interpersonal skills, organizational, time management, prioritization. These are more general skills that aren't really specific, such as IVs or Foleys or medication administration. Here we're talking specifically about kind of who you are as a person and showing that you're well-rounded and you're adaptable to the position. You also want to talk about here specific experiences, whether it be your clinical placements, your consolidation, your volunteer experience, or internships within this paragraph. So if you were applying to a public health position, you want to stress your experience in public health where you developed skills on population health strategies and communication, because that's what a lot of public health involves. And so you're emphasizing that through your skills and through experiences. You do not want this paragraph to be super long, but you want to get concise and to the point. Now, your third paragraph should really just be a, I hope to be contacted in the future so that we can maybe arrange an interview, and I thank you. And then I always write sincerely, followed by 4 spaces, and my name. That's your cover letter for you. So again, you want to make sure it's super concise, to the point, but still highlights your experiences, the fact that you researched the hospital or clinic that you're applying to, and that you have the necessary skills. Now let's talk about the resume. So again, the resume should be really 1 page long. It should not be longer than that. Sometimes, I'll be honest, I cheat a little bit and I extend the margins and I, put the font to like 11.5, but really it should not be more than a page because people don't want to read more than 1 page. So you want to keep these things very succinct, but to the point, and still highlight your skills. The first part of my resume, again, is the header, which should be identical to your cover letter header. This way we know the 2 and 2 things go together. The next thing I like to talk about is the objective. So what is your objective? So your objective should really be that you want to apply to this position and that you have this skill and this experience. I like to keep my objective really short, to 2 or 3 bullet points, just to say, hey, this is my objective, these are my skills, that's it. So the next part of my resume is my education. And again, this really depends on how you want to organize your resume. This is just how I like to organize it. But the second point is basically education. So here I highlight my nursing degree, which is a Bachelor of Nursing at this university. And then you want to put the dates as well. You always want to make sure the most recent dates are at the top and then followed by the past ones in order. So because I have 2 degrees, I put both my degrees on just to highlight that. And then the next thing I like to talk about is my certification. So if I have my CPR certification, if I have my NRP certification since I work with babies, any other sort of certifications that are relevant to the job that you're applying to, you should include that. The next part I talk about is my professional experience, or if you don't have any experience, you're going to put in your clinical placements here. So when we're talking about clinical placements, or when we're talking about our professional experience, we want to talk about the specific hospital that you're at and make sure you include the date as well. Within each of your professional experiences, you want to put a couple bullet points as to what you really did. And again, this needs to relate to the job that you're applying to. You're not going to talk about your community health clinical placement when you're applying to a med-surg position, because they don't really care. The only thing they care about is your med-surg placements, or anything that was relevant to med-surg, or whatever it is that you're applying to. This way, your cover letter and resume are not going to be super long. They're going to be short and succinct and to the point and relevant. So for example, because I work in OB, I needed to include my postpartum and labor and delivery experience. Now don't freak out if you don't have experience in the particular unit that you're applying to. Just highlight the units that had some sort of relevant skills. So for example, if you were a med-surg and you've been med-surg all your life and you're applying to OB, you can still talk about the fact that you did IV stuff in med-surg, that you did Foley catheters in med-surg, because that also applies to in postpartum and labor and delivery units. So don't think that, you don't have enough experience, you don't have it. You need to just tailor your cover letter and resume to show that you do have some of the necessary skills and that you're willing to further develop the ones that you don't. So when it comes to these bullet points, a lot of people don't know what the heck to write or where to start. Again, look at the job description, look what they're looking for, think about the unit you're applying to, what kinds of skills would be really important. Each bullet point should be one length long, or how do I explain this? Basically, each of your little bulleted points under your experience should be max 1 line long. They should not be 2 or 3 lines long. They're not going to want to read it. Also, each bulleted point should start with the verb. So something like monitored postpartum patients and conducted postpartum assessments on mothers and newborns makes a little bit more sense. Also, remember that I did start with the verb, and that's really important to make sure that you include in these bulleted points. Also, a little pro tip is to save your cover letter and resume as a PDF file, as it's much more compatible than doc files and docx files, and can get really complicated. So I would save it as a PDF file and then just check once you've saved it that the format and everything lines up well before you submit your cover letters and your resumes. The next pro tip that I have for you guys is to always make sure you have your references ready to go. Sometimes I remember when I first started applying to nursing jobs, I did not have my references ready, and I was contacting them and be like, hey, you may get a call sometime soon. So make sure you kind of give your references a heads up, and make sure you tell them, hey, you may be getting a call from a position that I'm applying to, just so that they're aware and they're not surprised if they do get a call or they do get an email saying, hey, so-and-so has been applying to a job and we need your input. So have your references ready. I would have about 4 references if you can, prepared and ready to go in case you do need to send their contact information to the job that you're applying to. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that these tips helped you, and I hope that you kind of have an idea of what kind of cover letter and resume to have and to include when you are applying to jobs. Make sure when you go to interviews that you bring a couple copies of those things so that you show a little bit of preparedness and organization as well, which you probably talk about in your cover letter and resume already. And thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.